this study, we're going to look at the cradle and its application in MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. The cradle is most commonly known as a pinning position in wrestling, but it's also an excellent controlling position in all forms of grappling. It's a position where your hands are clasped around the neck and leg of an opponent, and with it, you're able to break them down to their shoulders and hips, even if your goal isn't to pin them. There's even a legendary tale told of catch wrestler Mark Schultz holding Rickson Gracie in a cradle for 30 minutes the first time they rolled, before Rickson eventually escaped and Mark Schultz went on to get a Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And while the story may have grown with time, it shows the control a well-applied cradle can give. It's important to distinguish between two major cradle positions: the near side cradle, where your chest faces your opponent's chest, and the far side cradle, where your chest faces their back. You can also look at transitioning from near side to far side cradle, and that transition will be one of the key skills when looking to set up submissions. We're going to explore cradle entries, using it as a breakdown and to pass guard, how the cradle can be used against the fence in MMA, and ways it can be used as a strong setup for submissions. Now let's begin by looking at the many different ways you can enter into a cradle. From the front headlock is one of the most common positions to enter the cradle. It's assisted if your opponent tries to stand by stepping up on one leg, bringing their knee closer to their head. But even if they remain in turtle, you can still set up the cradle by keeping a chin strap grip and turning the corner to catch their ankle or knee with your free hand, aiming to go elbow deep with your grip. On the ground, one of the entries into the cradle is from a knee shield position when the opponent is attempting to wrestle up with an underhook. You can secure the cradle by framing on the opponent's head and then hooking and elevating their top leg, which will bring your hands together so you can clasp them. And from there, you can look to sprawl your legs back and finish in a near side cradle. You can also enter into the cradle from side control position if you have a cross-face control and the opponent tries to roll away from you to turtle, bringing their top knee closer to their head, or if they try and roll towards you in side control, perhaps looking to re-guard or enter into a knee shield position, which again will bring their top knee closer to their head, allowing you to secure a cradle. Another more jiu-jitsu based entry into the cradle is from a shin to shin guard, where it's similar to an opponent wrestling up on a single leg, but by repositioning their head to the outside of your knee, you allow yourself to clasp your hands together around their knee and head, entering into a near side cradle. Which brings up its application in defending a proper single leg, where if the opponent's head is on the outside, in the process of them looking to finish by running the pipe or going for a dump, it's going to bring their head closer to their near knee. So if you overwrap the back of the head, their knee is going to be available for you to clasp the single leg together. While this doesn't stop the takedown, you can roll through to top position. So while one entry into the cradle is from single leg defense, a more common option will be from offense, and combining cradles with a takedown is an excellent way to secure a pin, especially if your opponent begins to try and heist and build height after hitting the mat. The most common use is when finishing the single leg takedown, as one arm will already be in the correct elbow deep position around the opponent's knee, and as they go to stand, they'll bring their head closer to that knee, allowing you to frame with a collar tie on the back of their head, which helps in preventing them from heisting, break them down, which allows you to easily transition around the back of the head to lock up the cradle. And while a setup to enter a near side cradle from the front headlock is to begin looking for a go behind, you can also use the cradle once you've secured it to finish the go behind and get behind your partner's elbows and look to start attacking their back with back takes or other breakdowns. And one of the main uses you'll see for a cradle that transcends across all grappling and combat sports is its use as a breakdown to put an opponent back onto their hip and shoulders. See, the cradle's primary strength lies in its ability to break an opponent's structure. When an opponent is trying to stand or build height, they'll naturally bring their knee and head together, making them vulnerable to the cradle. And once locked up, you can use the position to put your opponent back onto their hip, breaking their base and preventing them from building the frames they need to escape or advance position. The key mechanical principle here is that you're connecting two distant points of their body, the head and the leg, which creates the structural weakness. This prevents them from being able to post effectively or generate the hip movement that they need to escape. Securing a breakdown is going to be one of the main skills you need when locking up your cradle as your opponent tries to stand. By pinching your elbow together, bringing your opponent's chin to their chest, and lifting their top leg in a near side cradle, you can effectively drive them back down onto the mat and prevent them from standing. Now, if you do secure a breakdown with a near side cradle, you are going to need to do some work to eventually clear the guard and secure position. And this is where the cradle can be used to set up a pass, or even entered directly into from the knee shield position and pass. So if you are setting up the near side cradle from the knee shield, the first thing you will need to do is sprawl your trapped leg back and walk around to the head to clear it entirely free of your opponent's guard. Now, once you're in that free near side cradle position, you'll actually need to step your leg back over your opponent's trap leg to go into a leg weave position, or where you'll start to ride the legs and keep weight on them. From there, you can finish a standard leg weave pass that will go either directly into mount, or you can hip switch and move back into a back control position. If you're savvy enough, you can even move directly from the near side cradle into the leg weave and then finish with the far side cradle. And here we can see Chael Sonnen execute this pass perfectly against Brian Stann to finish in a side control position. Now, the far side cradle that you'll transition through during that pass is also an excellent control and breakdown position that opens up back-taking opportunities. It's when your chest is facing their back and you lock up their far leg and head to secure the cradle, enabling you to easily pull them backwards into a breakdown and set up a back-taking opportunity. But you'll also have the ability to roll directly over your head to set up those same back-taking opportunities. And one of the benefits of this style of cradle, aside from pinning, is you can secure it to use a breakdown from your opponent's back without having any hooks inserted onto your opponent. So if you're on their back and they're quad podding up, but you're unable to get the hooks in, then you can still secure the head and leg of the far side of the opponent and then roll through to get the breakdown and bring them back to the mat. And another opportunity to secure far side cradles is going to be against the fence in MMA, where they work exceptionally well as opponents are naturally bringing their knee towards their head as they look to gain height. If you're riding the back or side back of the opponent, this is going to mean underhooking their outside knee and going over the top of their head like you're securing a seatbelt grip, but you've got the cradle instead. And there's even this rare case of it being used defensively against the fence. And if you are against the fence in MMA, but in front of your opponent's elbows or in a front headlock position, then the opportunity to lock up a near side cradle is going to present itself very often. As opponents are in the habit of stepping up on their outside leg to prevent a hook insertion for riding or back-taking opportunities, they open up the opportunity to lock up the near side cradle by bringing their knee and head very close together. Now, while your breakdown opportunities are more limited in this position due to the fence, you still have a great option of simply lifting your opponent up slightly and dragging them off the fence, returning them to their hip and shoulder. And another attacking opportunity you'll have from a near side cradle against the fence is to throw knees at your opponent's chest, shoulder, or thigh, as those targets will open themselves up in the process of your opponent looking to stand. And knees will also be available as an attacking opportunity when utilizing a cradle in open space in mixed martial arts. Depending on the rule set, you may be able to strike to the head, otherwise knees to the body is going to be your only option. And while knees to the head are great, if competing under the unified rules when knees to the body are only available, then attacking your opponent when their hips are on the mat from a far side cradle to the side of their body or their back, being sure to avoid the spine, is going to be one of the better options to throw knee strikes using a cradle. Now let's take a look at the submission options that you can enter in directly from a cradle. While a bunch of exotic submissions do exist, we're going to take a look at the primary ones available, which are going to be from front headlock transitions. In particular, at any point during a cradle, if the opponent ceases to defend their neck, it's going to give you ability to jump your lock back up to a guillotine choke. But the process of transitioning in between the near side cradle and the far side cradle, as seen in the cradle pass, will also open up attacking opportunities. For instance, a head and arm choke will be available depending on the position of the opponent's top arm as you make that transition from near side to far side cradle, moving through a leg weave or leg drag position. Another front headlock attacking option will be the darce choke as you work from that leg weave position, reinforce with the cradle, and then look to jump your hand into the darce attack. Or from the same position, you can jump your grip directly into an anaconda choke. And while the attack's always going to be better set up from the leg weave position reinforced with the cradle, it can still be done while standing. Now let's look at one of the cleanest transitions into an anaconda choke from the cradle by Kennedy Marcial against Gabriel Sousa. First he goes for the front headlock into near side cradle breakdown, then steps over the top leg into a leg weave position, then transfers his grips into a head and arm before attacking a guillotine choke, and then finally, as Gabriel Sousa rolls to defend, he switches into the anaconda choke grip to get the submission victory. And interesting to note is Kennedy's father, Cobrinha, used a cradle to get ADCC gold in 2017. And lastly, a few additional options do exist to enter into leg entanglements from either that leg weave or leg drag position you can enter in from the near side cradle. So what makes the cradle particularly valuable is that it's not just a single technique, it's a system of control that opens up multiple pathways, whether you're using it to break down an opponent's structure, pass their guard, control them against the fence, or transition into submissions. The core principle remains the same, connecting distant points on your opponent's body to create structural weakness. Had to get that breakdown done on cradles. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, please. They really cheer me up. Thank you.